All right, I just go the quick and
Yes,
dirty
please.
rundown.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I totally agree. I don't see any reason to limit salt. In fact, I get people to drink a ton of water, and people don't realize that when they go from a processed food diet, they don't realize how much salt they're usually eating, not even adding it to their foods. And then when they try to get healthy, they give all the processed junk, and then they stop all salt. They start drinking a bunch of water. Next thing you know, they're woozy because their blood sodium levels are too low. So I actually recommend that when people switch to hyper-nourishing plant-based diet, that they actually incorporate about a teaspoon of salt a day if they're adding all this water, because we do need a little sodium. And when we completely eliminate it, you can have problems. And I've actually had people not listen to me about that and have problems where they got dizzy. And if your blood sodium gets too low, you can have seizures. I mean, it's serious business. So about a teaspoon a day usually works for people. And that, again, that is not the same as folks who are overeating sodium, and they also have hard arteries from overeating butter too. And that's the other problem. So, so sodium, I've not seen a problem. Glad to hear someone else agrees with me on that one. Oils, in general, I'm not a fan. Coconut oil raises your cholesterol, and all the animal products, all those oils and saturated fats are bad for you too. Olive oil, avocado oil, I've seen people get away with using that sparingly. It's not an inflammatory oil, but it's not good for your health. The only ones that I've seen to be health promoting would be something like cold pressed flaxseed oil, because it's high dose omega-3 fatty acids, which actually brings down inflammation, stimulates the pathway to create your anti-inflammatory immune system, increases your metabolic rate, incorporates into cell membranes, incorporates into your neurons. So those are really important fats. And of course, if you're afraid of oils, don't want to use them, you can use things like flax and chia seeds, but I have helped people reverse disease successfully using flax and chia oils. And so there's no reason to be afraid of that one. People are so afraid of fats, especially in the plant-based movement, but there are ones that are actually helpful for healing. And so, like I said, flax oil would be one of those exceptions. Now, going to fats in general, fat phobia is rampant. And there's a lot of misinformation about that. I have a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel about this as well. So it's really important to understand that eating whole plant-based fats do not increase your body fat. So for those who don't know my background fully, my husband has his own best-selling book, Miracle Metabolism, and we came into understanding the impact of nutrition on cellular repair and metabolism because of his research. So he was getting his master's degree trying to understand what the right human diet is for fast metabolism. And coming from a computer science mathematic background, he thought when there were algorithms that people used in biological science. And boy, was he shocked when he found out that PhDs in biology don't know what humans are supposed to eat. And so it really perturbed him. And so he was obsessed with figuring out the right foods to create a fast metabolism. Was very successful at that. And the plant-based version of that is what reversed my lupus all those years ago. To be 18 years not free. So anyway, it all came from his fat loss protocols, and they work. I did his program actually to lose weight for our wedding. He wanted to marry a sick woman who couldn't have his children and take care of me. And so I did his program, and within 3 months, I went from a size 11 to a size 3. And, I lost the lupus too. So, but what we found is there are certain fats that make you sicker. At the time, I was a vegetarian, and so I ate a lot of dairy and eggs. And so I had to take that out of my diet. But I was able to eat other fats like avocados in an unlimited way. In fact, I usually ate about 3-4 avocados or more a day, and body fat dropped really, really quickly. So we've actually tested all the different kinds of fats. He had the largest boot camps in Orange County, California. So he was able to test different foods with the same exercise program to see what happened. So we found that olives, avocados, even nuts and seeds do not inhibit fat loss. When you're looking at autoimmune disease reversal, I don't recommend people go super high on the nuts and seeds because I'm trying to fix their omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. So if you watch my class, I went into that a lot. And I actually have free classes online right now where you can, if you want 5 hours to learn for free about these pathways. But nuts and seeds are heavy in the omega-6. When you're healthy, the range is actually pretty good to maintain health without worrying about it. But if you're trying to reverse disease, I would keep those minimal. But in terms of body fat, those are all really, really safe. And also in terms of other things, I've been telling people forever that avocados do not raise cholesterol. And now they've shown in research that plant-based diet with no fat, cholesterol comes down. You add avocados, it comes down almost twice as much. So more and more research is validating what we've been seeing over the past, almost 20 years. I have no comment on hyperbaric oxygen or infrared sauna because I only speak about things I have results for. So I have found that the worst thing that anyone can do is give a theory when they don't have results or experience. So since I've never tested hyperbaric oxygen and infrared saunas to see what happens to people who do it or don't do it, I won't comment on it. I would say if you like it and you feel better doing it, then do it. If you don't, then don't. But I don't have an opinion because I haven't tested it. Supplements for all people, B12, D, probiotics. For most people, probiotics. Not everybody needs them, but a lot of folks transitioning from a meat-based processed food diet to a plant-based one can have some GI upset. So that can be helpful, but definitely B12 and D. And I've heard some controversy about vitamin D lately, but in my own experience, again, working with people with autoimmune disease, what I saw is that autoimmune antibodies were spiking in people with low vitamin D, and just supplying the D brought the antibodies back down again. Found more articles to support it in other practices as well. So I think it's a dangerous thing to neglect, especially since most of us spend our life indoors, and 15 minutes a day in the sun doesn't fix it. Let me see what else. The next one was fasting, water fasting. That one also, my experience with it is varied. So I don't personally put people on water fasts. I've had folks tell me that they've done water fasts and to help them overcome their original food addiction and transition better. And I think that's wonderful. And I've gotten referrals from places where people do water fasts. But I did have one client who had already gotten healthy. He reversed his disease completely. His lupus was, all of his labs were negative. His kidneys were working again. And he went and did, he wanted to do a water fast with a friend out in Sydney. It was supposed to be 30 days. And within 2 weeks, his bone marrow failed. He ended up in a coma. And the autoimmune markers all came back. And I talked to some of my friends that I just saw in the last group. And their only theory was maybe he already didn't have much body fat and he went into starvation, but it gave me some trauma. So I know if it's medically supervised, like our friends in California doing, they probably would never see something like that. I mean, this was supposed to be medically supervised, but I don't know, they missed it. But it gave me some fears about it. So I don't know. So I'm a little hesitant because I had that one experience. But I think for most people, it's probably a good head start. But it's not necessary, because by adding the nourishment you need, you're going to get results that really will stay. And that's what happens a lot of times is people feel better fasting. And then when they eat again, things come back. So I would just be careful and make sure it's medically supervised and that they're doing blood tests if you do it. Medical tests. Again, I do live in a medical world, and I think it's important to be careful with your health. So I personally just got my mammogram, my colonoscopy, my pap smear, and was told that I have the insides of a teenager, and that's great to know. My colonoscopy afterwards, he actually applauded for me. I have had family members die of colon cancer that was not found in time because they were not getting their tests. So I do wish that the whole world ate plant-based and lowered their risk of disease and not needed them, but there are still people whose lives are saved from this. I actually just read an article recently about a woman who did not get a mammogram because she was told they were bad. By the time she got it, she was only months away from death from metastatic breast cancer. So I caution people, I'd rather people take the tests and know for sure, even if they are uncomfortable and even if they sometimes make you come back, then miss a chance to diagnose something that might be important for you to know. So I still recommend people get those tests. And smoothies, you already know the answer, Steve. So we have found that making green smoothies has been the way to get people to hypernurish. When I healed from lupus almost 18 years ago, I ate pounds of raw broccoli and cauliflower just dipped in guacamole. That's how I ate all those avocados. And that's how I got it in. And I got rid of lupus, I lost the fat, and I had jaws that could cut through a steel door. But I have found that it's very hard to get people to eat pounds of raw vegetables, especially when they've never eaten that way. But if you put it in a blender and throw in a handful of flax or chia, you put in your favorite fruit and water and you blend it, people will drink it through a straw and it will save their life. So yes, some current research has shown that you actually absorb more nutrition through a smoothie than you do if you chew up that same amount of food. But we've seen in thousands of people all over the world is that it is a fast track to getting people to get the nourishment they need so that they can get healthy and not need to hang out with so many doctors anymore.